in the miniature representations of the landfill, those tin cans are represented by little pieces of orange peel or little pieces of honey.
And that's in the
small
version.
Right, in the tiny little versions that the biological ants are going to go in and find that honey or those orange peels.
Okay.
And they're going to carve a path through their miniature landfill directly to them. And so our ants, our larger robotic ants, don't even need to know where they're going or what they're doing. All they have to do is do exactly what the little ones did, and they will make it to the tin cans. And then when they get there, all they have to do is exactly what the little ants did, and they'll pick them up and bring them back.
Bring them back where?
To the hive, to the queen.
Okay.
To the queen, who all of this stuff is brought back to the queen, who is constantly assembling both more ants and more miniature landfills, and possibly they are one and the same. And each miniature landfill becomes a section in the ant's body, because an ant's body has like 3 sections. One of them at least could be an ant colony, which is in either a one of these landfill miniatures, or maybe it's like and maybe it's also connected to something that's like an ant hive, but that is a simulation ant hive. It's not real. So the ants go in there, and then they end up being part of experiments because the corridors change, and items drop in, and smells are released, and we can also do computation with fungi to do the same thing. Like slime molds can guide us through a miniature representation of the landfill to the tin cans in the same way.
Okay. So you're there, and then what are you going to do with them?
Well, the tin cans, would be used very sparingly. Metal is like...
Sparingly to do what?
Metal is not super necessary for these organisms. They can use it to do some interesting things, but it wouldn't be their priority. I think I might be wrong about that. Maybe they would end up taking those tin cans, melting them down into lightweight, like exoskeletons or skeletons, and they reinforce their limbs with this, so that they can carry heavier loads without damaging the trees.
Are you talking about mycelium tree now that's going to carry the tin cans?
Yeah, well, that's basically you pretty much. I'm talking about a giant robotic ant that is by weight, by mass, volume, mostly mycelium and tree. So that is
it's got a motor in it.
Yeah, it has several motors in it. It has joints that on each joint is a root system or a branch, so that...
Wait a minute, where is the root in this structure that's mechanical? You've got...
Let's just talk about the arm of the thing. There are a few ways you can do this. You can make the arm robotic, and you can make it just out of metal, inert material, something lightweight or plastic, and then you can grow vines around that. You can grow plants out of that, or you can grow mushrooms or a durable mycelium, that protects it and that, allows it to carry heavy loads because it distributes the weight because if you try to pick up a heavy load with just the tin frame of it that all these plants are on, it would bend, right? But instead, no, we grew something like maybe a bamboo or something along this metal line, or you can sort of, for your limbs, you can try to use mostly mycelium in trees and do that by like gripping them and having something that goes through. And so the tree is rooted in the mycelium, and the mycelium is wrapped up in something tightly. And at the point where it moves, at the joint where it swivels, there's nothing growing there, so it's not cracking or bending anything. But the idea is we are growing things out of waste that can support their own weight. So we have to grow like stalks and like really hardy weight-bearing plants like trees, and we have to grow them out of really hard, like durable mycelium, like oyster mycelium, and that all has to be in a durable, flexible, really tight and well maintained and well aerated and supplied with water, robotic and electric architecture, unless they're going to be wind up. It's a complicated picture, but it's not an impossible one. And it's my plan. I'm definitely going to get there. And when
I like the simplistic thing of you're making bricks, the bricks could build.
Right. Well, we were talking about myceliating plastic and how it's toxic for humans, right? But it's not toxic for them. It's actually perfect for these ants because I've been thinking, mycelium. I've been myceliating sawdust and cardboard mush, and thinking, oh, this is kind of delicate. The cardboard's pretty durable sometimes from a certain angle if it's like in patches or whatever, strips. But you start incorporating plastic, and you do it like woven together in an intelligent way, and all of this myceliates. It's going to be a lot more durable. The plastic mycelium, I think, I might be wrong, but I think myceliated plastic could end up being a really, really durable thing.
Well, that's a possibility. At least we're not eating it. So I'm happy with your plan.
But it's pretty simple. The landfill is full of mush and plastic that's falling apart and unusable crap that you couldn't possibly turn into a robot.
It's rotted. It's rotted.
It's
slimy.
Yeah, slimy, rotted, or even if it isn't, it's just, how are you going to make a robot out of plywood and cardboard?
I don't understand how you're going to get that out and turn it in.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
God damn it. This is why mycelium. Because what mycelium does is it slowly replaces the weight, the mass of whatever it's growing on with itself, and what it is an interwoven, interlocking structure of filaments, like roots. So in the same way that out front, that garden, like we'd have to get in there with a shovel to break apart the roots to even plant anything, eventually the mycelium becomes the same way on a microscopic level. And if it grows strong enough, it ends up something kind of like a gummy, lightweight, but really durable log. And this is just the cardboard mush and the sawdust. When you get into plastic, I mean, it might end up even more durable. But it's durable enough just with the crap, the trash, the mush that I've been myceliating is, it falls apart in your hands. It's nothing. It's dust. Mycelium turns it into this solid straw. Like I could give you one, you would not be able to break it. And so if this is like the flesh, basically, of the fungus, of the ants, and the bones of them are inside, or if they have an exoskeleton around that, like bark or something, or like something like a lichen grows around that, or there's like a frame, whatever it is, it's not going to take a lot to turn that already strong structure into something really strong.
You better continue later. You know what? You're losing your voice.
Yeah. I've talked to you about like the structure of the ants, more or less, but I don't think I just want to like be super clear here. They are walking gardens. Walking gardens. You will be able to grow anything out of them.
Yeah, but why do they have to walk? That makes it weird.
Well, because it's useful if they walk. A walking garden can stay in the sun. A walking garden can, walk itself to more water or nutrients. But beyond that, it's not about the garden. This is just a means of turning waste material into a functional robot. And when you think practically about how do we do that in a way that is sustainable over a long period of time, these robots don't need maintenance, parts will need to be replaced, they start falling apart. The answer to that, or a lovely answer to that, would be make the parts alive. Make the parts out of, if you have, say you need 6 articulated limbs, right? So that was embedded in a mycelial form. And, we're talking a large structure. If it isn't, it doesn't make sense to you. Maybe you're not. What if, robot? Because I'm picturing rather large robotics here. And I think, robots of all sizes will be useful in the mining of a landfill. And I cannot think of a better form for a landfill mining robot than an ant. And I can't think of a better way to do this. But, just as a byproduct of, me using the materials at hand to fulfill my functional requirements to mine a landfill, just as a byproduct of that, turns out you can grow stuff out of mycelium. You can grow anything out of mycelium, pretty much. So these ants become farms, become walking farms. And the larger ones are capable of, basically, if this thing shows up in your village, there is no famine that year. That's not a problem. And it can just walk there, too. I mean, how beautiful is that?
Because then all those other good ideas of feeding them go out the window when you say they're going to walk. Because people will not believe it. I don't. I don't believe that plants walk.
Okay. Well, plants are not going to walk. Robots are going to walk on plants. They're going to walk using plants. And they're going to make their bodies out of mycelium.
No, wait a minute. I lost you again.
Okay. So one way you can think about these things, especially if they're large enough, and I'm imagining them largely sedentary creatures. Like, they don't do a lot of stuff most of the time.
Are you talking about a robot?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean they're sedentary?
I mean, they sit around. And they just lay around in the sun, or they just sort of embed themselves in the dirt, and you wouldn't know that they were robots or that they were there, because it just looks like a forest, like a really healthy, interesting, lovely forest with ferns and plants and mushrooms growing, and there's trees, right? But when it's time to move, they all stand up, or I mean,
Who's all?
So these trees are actually the limbs of the ants, and they are lying on their backs and lifting their limbs up, or their bellies and their limbs just are lifted up into the air so that they can photosynthesize, because they're trees and they're covered in leaves, and trees need sunlight. So they just hang out because they're made of forest stuff, and when they're when they're not working, this is what they're doing. They are quietly myceliating, and
I thought they're a robot.
Well, they are. And look, imagine this.
How can something that is a mechanical be made to grow with your mycelium?
Well, just a moment.